I'm going to answer the question, should you accept the partial scholarship instead of full funded scholarships? Because sometimes you might apply to various universities or various programs, and when they make the determination or the final decision, they might give you partial scholarship. Should you accept that? And if yes, how are you going to survive with your studies and the living expenses while you are there under the partial scholarship? Welcome everyone. This is EBM again. On my explanation as to why you should or should not accept the partial scholarship. Before I go into detail to make a decision whether to accept or not, let's go and understand what does the partial scholarship mean. What percentage is under what we call partial scholarship? So the partial scholarship can be into different ways. That means it can either be you are given a certain percentage on tuition and fees, and they don't give at all anything on the living expenses or the stipend for you to cover where you are going to live and other things. So they can say tuition and fees at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, we are going to give you 50% of tuition and fees, and maybe the tuition fees is 30,000. They say we are going to give you 15,000. That means they give you 50%. It means you have to pay the remainder of the tuition and fees, and you have to figure out the living expenses on your own. That can be 10%, 20%, 50%, 80%. It can be any amount percent. Let's start with the tuition and fees. That is the first part. But also, when they give the partial, they don't give, in most cases, the living expenses. But there is another kind, what we call partial. They can cover 100% of tuition and fees, but they say you have to find your money or how you are going to save or to survive into food, housing or accommodation, overall we call room and board. How are you going to survive in those particular areas? That, in my opinion, is also type of partial, because it's not fully funded in the sense of covering tuition, fees, and the living expenses. They are not going to cover the living expenses, so still is not fully funded scholarships. So, should you accept that? So, again, before you go to accept, I will take again you back. When you apply for any program, is indicated in most cases how much percentage they are going to cover, and or what items are they going to cover into that particular scholarship. So they will say we are covering tuition and fees, we are not covering living expenses. There are some they say tuition fees and the stipend of maybe 1,200 euro or 1,500 US dollar on a monthly basis. They will tell you. Some they say we are going to cover even a flight ticket. Some we are going to cover also visa fee. So it depends. But usually visa fee and the flight ticket, those are not very few scholarships. They provided that one. So when you apply, make sure you read between the line how much are they going to offer. So you don't get surprised when they were going to be told, we are going to cover this amount. It's not like they made a decision because it's just you. In most cases, it is already indicated what percentage they are going to cover or what items are covering under that particular scholarship. So it will depend on you and other areas where you are going to get the money. If you accept and say yes, number one, you need to have your own money, because you cannot be admitted at UCLA and go to ask the money from the University of Chicago to go to study at UCLA. You cannot be admitted at Cambridge and ask the University of Manchester to pay you to go to study in Cambridge. or to get admission at Oslo and ask University of Sydney to pay you in another country. No. So don't apply and get admission and start walking around, because the decision is already being made. You apply, for instance, this year, you are going to study next year. So there is a timeline when they're making the decision. So you cannot get admission in May and ask any person to give you 20,000, 50,000 randomly. That will be impossible. So when you say you are going to accept the partial, make sure you have the other source of fund. Other source of fund, you can try to apply to the same university in different departments if they have financial aspect where you can be able to apply. So try to do that while you are looking for other money. But for me, I will not accept if they say you are giving 50% of tuition and fees and the rest is only on you. I cannot accept that one. That's me. The only I can accept is if they give me tuition and fees fully covered and they say living expenses on your own, I will accept that one. Why will I accept that one? Because the living expenses, you can work. As an international student, you are allowed to work 20 hours per week. Depending on the country, there are countries you are allowed to work on campus, there are countries you are allowed to work both on campus and off campus. So if you go to look at 20 hours per week, per month, you are making over 1,000 in almost all countries in the Western world. Some you might get 1,300, some will get 1,500, depending on the amount. But the minimum will get 1,200, around that amount of money on a monthly basis if you work 20 hours per week. Because it's $10 to $15, $18 per hour, depending on the country and the city where you are studying. So that way you can be able to cover your living expenses. But if they say you also have to pay certain percent of tuition, personal, I will say no. I will not accept that one. So before you make any decision, when you are going to apply, start with when you apply, look on the categories. But on my channel, when you see I post a scholarship on my channel, if you see you go to my other website, which is ebmscholarships.com, I usually post a scholarship. I only post 100% fully funded, the one they cover tuition, fees, and living expenses and the stipend. That is when I'm going to post. So if you are here on my channel, consider 100% in the sense of everything. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is EBM, talking to you from my home office in Belton, Missouri, United States of America. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this video.